Welcome to Voice Rising with Kara Johnstad. Enjoy weekly conversations with leading luminaries, pioneering visionaries, singers, poets, musicians, and sound healers as we explore the profound role our voice plays on the path to self-realization and global enlightenment. The internationally acclaimed singer, composer, author, healer, recording artist, voice expert, creator of Voice Your Essence, and founder of the School of Voice, Kara Johnstad uses her extraordinary spiritual gifts to empower others. Everything in this world vibrates. Everything has a frequency. A pioneer in the field of voice work and transformational songwriting. Her breakthrough methods are helping thousands of people worldwide fine-tune their body-mind-spirit system and unlock the energetic frequencies of limitless creativity, health, and abundance. Share your voice, ask your questions, join in the conversation. Receive life-changing, positive transformation and rise together to create a sound world. And here's your host, Kara Johnstad.
Hey everybody, welcome so much to Voice Rising. So much is happening around the world, and I'm very lucky today to have with me in studio the documentary filmmaker Georgia Wyss. Georgia is co-founder of the Barcelona-based production company TengoTwo. In addition to her work as an editor, she has been producing documentaries and image films. She co-produced, co-wrote, and edited the documentary No Plorar Mai, Never to Cry. And in 2017, Georgia finished producing, directing her feature-length documentary about the yoga music phenomenon Mantra Sounds into Silence. This film has been shown in numerous film festivals and theaters around the world. It has won the Illuminate Film Festival in Sedona award, the winner it's the winner of the Director's Choice Award at the Maui Film Festival. It's also the winner of the Documentary Feature World Cinema Award and the Rishikesh Film Festival Best of Fest Award. Her recent works also have included A Crude Awakening, which is a feature documentary shown at over 70 film festivals. It's so much, Georgia. I'm going to stop there because I am very touched by all the work you're doing for humanity, and I welcome you today to the studio to be with us.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you. Really happy to be here.
So we are currently, as you know, you're in Spain, I'm in Berlin. The OMTimes studio is on the East Coast. We are currently moving through very interesting times globally. And I want to say, when researching for this interview, what fascinated me about your work and what fascinates me is that you've dedicated your life to giving a voice to stories that make impact on humanity. They have an impact on humanity. For example, you edited, I believe, the film Time Thieves, which investigated how time has become money and how we can claim back control over that precious time. And that's exactly what's happening in this moment. People are being asked to realize that time is a commodity, and we're being asked in this moment to take control back over our time and what's important to us. How do you see that? How are you moving through these days in the moment?
Well, it's a very interesting question because, we're locked in Spain. I'm forced to be at home now for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I am just feeling so grateful for this experience because, I still had a lot of work, but I really just kind of slowing down and trying to do things much slower and enjoying time much more. That's all my experience that I've had today, Today is just day one of the 15 days that we're locked in. I don't know, there's a tremendous sense of gratitude and peace coming in with it, and it's just that. It's like, I'm really actually allowing myself to take more time with things. I'm not pressurizing myself so much because I don't have to go here and there and I've got more time. So it's actually an interesting question. I didn't think about that today, but yeah, I think we just feel so pressurized, not allowing ourselves to take time for ourselves. I think we've lost that a lot in our society, and maybe now is a good time for us to experience that again. And I hope whatever I learn out of these 2 weeks now, that I'll be able to bring some certain qualities with me into the future. Take things slower, take things easier. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping.
And maybe focus on our passion and what we can contribute to the world. The projects that you choose to dedicate your own earth time, as I like to call it, they are real stories. You're not creating fantasy films. You're not doing horror movies. You are a documentary filmmaker. And what's fascinating is that you've been talking about themes like the quality of time. You also have a film out there that you worked on called A Crude Awakening, which was about the oil crash, and we've learned about the planet's dwindling oil resources. And what I saw is that a lot of things that you worked on, the issues, you've been working on these things for years, and they're still present. So your films that you work on, and we're going to get to your latest film, which is a film about mantra, but your films that you work on are powerful stories, right? They're showing us how we can, if we're listening a little bit deeper, reinvent ourselves and rise out of these complex times and complex stories. Is that, what is for you the role of a documentary filmmaker? I mean, why do you choose, you could be doing fairy tales and children's movies. I mean, why do you choose this path? Why is this the voice that you find so intriguing and so important?
Yeah, well, the other films that I've been working on as an editor, I mean, I've been actually very fortunate that I've had the opportunity to have this work. I'm not quite sure exactly how it changed. I mean, at some point it just came that direction. I was working more and more on documentaries, which are uncovering things or trying to make people more aware of certain things that are going on. And I feel very grateful for this opportunity, of course. And documentary editing is actually a very, very complex thing because you are trying to tell a story. Not a story, no. You are actually creating awareness about certain things that are going on, but you're also trying to tell it in a way that is not educating too much. That's kind of my style, I find. I'm trying not to pound it on people, but rather than let people make their own conclusions with it. And that is sometimes difficult to do. And it's very interesting. I love the work. It's very hard as well, but I very much love documentary editing for that reason, because, there's not like a script is given and you're just editing the scenes together and maybe change a few things around. You are actually really trying to bring a point over, and in a way that people actually get engaged with what you're trying to bring across.
Right. So you talk about that being not so easy, and you are an editor, you're also a director and a producer, but you're also an editor. And for those people out there that don't know what that means, it means often hours and hours of sitting in a very dark room and watching these cuts and these short stories that you're weaving together and bringing together. You're listening and watching those stories, whether it's on immigration or whether it's on fossil fuels or, all these many, many layers. How does that change you personally? Because you're not just going into the film, sitting in the audience once. You're sitting with these very deep issues for many months, if not maybe even a couple of years. Has that been tough for you? For you listening to that and absorbing that?
No, actually, I've always felt very, very let's say, grateful for the opportunity to give voice to such important causes. And sometimes, you start working on the film and you're not exactly sure what is going to be the message, and then we kind of find our way. I always work very closely with both directors and the editor, and suddenly you're like, wow, this is really important, and that just gives so much energy and so much gratitude, and it's great if you have that opportunity to bring across important messages about awareness. So
right.
It's tiring, but of course that also gives you energy. It's true. Sometimes you really 14 hours every day. Normally at the phase of editing, it's at the end of production. Money normally is running out, and you just the last stage is the editing, and then there you are. You just have to hang in there. You sometimes edit really a lot of hours every day, and it's tiring. And I find, I'm not sure if I should go into this now, but I find really what's really a good task of an editor is to be able to distance yourself as well, because you're seeing these things repeatedly over and over again. At a certain point, you don't know anymore, is this good or is this bad, or this is coming across, and to keep that freshness within, in spite of all the hours and all the information, is actually what I find is the most challenging bit in this work. And I think actually that with I think yoga and meditation actually for me personally helps me a lot with that, to not get too engaged as well, and so that I can keep a certain distance and a certain freshness in the approach. I'm not quite sure if that made sense, but
no, it's perfect, and it's a perfect bridge to where I would love to go. Your latest film, Mantra, explores the new music and social phenomenon of chanting. This is, it's very much in the yoga scene in the moment. And are you yourself then a practicing yogi? And do you practice yoga and meditation? Is this what has? Yeah, you just said it. Actually, it's helped you keep that balance and that harmony. Is that how you came to your latest film?
I've been practicing yoga for over 20 years, but that's not how I came to the film. Definitely chanting, the mantra, the meditations, I would say what we've done in yoga would have underlined the desire to make the film for sure, but I actually came to the idea of making this film through some of the music, some of the artists that I got to know who sing mantras, and I experienced the profoundness of this music, what it can do, how it can help people. So that's how I came to the idea of the film. But yoga definitely, and the chanting especially that we were doing in the classes, gave me a bigger push to want to do this, for sure.
And what was the biggest aha moment when you started meeting the people that were not only creating the music? You have top artists on, in this film, and David Premal is in the film, Meetin is in the film, Snap Makar is in the film, Jai Uttal. Wonderful, and that's only the short list of who's all in the film. What were some of the stories that you heard that people had experienced by starting a chanting practice?
Mostly they were very life-changing experiences, people who are really either facing a difficult time with a disease or the loss of someone, or just really deep down, profound life situations that can happen. And I think in these moments, people are really music, and that's also my own experience. I also had a difficult time, and that's why I got to know the music. That's when you actually, I felt I needed something that could give me a good feeling. If you read books and you have theories on how to deal with certain situations, that's one thing, but the music actually gave me that feeling inside, and that's what I was looking for. And I think that's the same way it touches many other people as well, that music just transmits that feeling of peace, and that's really what you search for in these very intense moments in life,
Yeah. So do you remember, do you remember your very first album? Do you remember the very first artist you listened to, and do you remember that moment of calmness that came over you?
Yeah, kind of. My mother once, it's a long time ago, she gave me a CD, and it was, one of those burnt CDs. There wasn't even names on it, and there was music. Deepen and deepen. I think it was the Gayatri mantra for sure. And there was also Lamagumi on it. And I remember the name of that CD was called Black Essence. And we were listening to that in a house, and then it was just around about time when my friend was diagnosed with cancer, and that just became, that was it. I mean, that was then the music that I just was listening to. I don't know, most of the time, when I was accompanying my friend through her last 5 years of life. So,
It's true. I know many stories like this. So that was before you chose to create this film. You accompanied your friend on her last 5 years in this time, and then something pulled you to create it's a feature film, right? So this is a very big work of art for you also, to go from editing to producing and directing, and I'm assuming also editing this very big piece of work. Yeah. Did the film take you all around the globe, or were people sending you were you there in the concerts live filming?
Yes, mostly. I think I went everywhere. I went to India, to Greece, to the United States, here in Spain, Paris. Maybe I didn't go. I had a very, very good co-director and a cameraman whose name was Valium, and he was traveling quite a lot, so he would film bits and pieces, like in Nepal. And he also went to Moscow on his own, because at a certain point there wasn't always budget for everyone to travel. So he also did some filming on his own, but mostly I was there, and I did all the interviews. No, it's been an amazing journey. I probably didn't know what I was getting myself into when this all started, but
It's all right. I mean, your film, it does pay homage really to fellow travelers. And I think what's most touching is that you see the intimacy of the performers and the people sitting in the chanting circles, in the audiences, breathing together, holding space for each other, holding space for each other's pain. Like you said, many people might be going through loss or disease, and at the same time, what's so phenomenal, which I only know also from, for example, certain gospel, situations, the people transform into this ecstatic, in this ecstasy, in this, bhakti devotion, right? And then everybody is synced. All the hearts are synced. Why is it so important in this world where everybody, now we are in slowdown. We are in what you said at the beginning of the interview, lockdown. Also in Berlin, we're moving into lockdown. Things are closing down. Why have we forgotten maybe the essence of breathing together, singing together, walking together? And it seems like mantra and chant brings us in harmony and sync. So it's not only the music, but literally the setting, right?
Very much, yes. I don't know where to start. But I think it's so unusual because the act of chanting mantras together in a group, which is called Kirtan, it's such an unusual thing because we are coming together, all of us together, for something that is greater than us, beyond us. And also there is nothing to gain. Like there's very rare situations nowadays where people get together and you're not talking and, you're not trying to be intellectual, you're not trying to be clever, it's not a competition. You are just there to be with everybody, to feel everybody, and to be in the moment, and you are putting this energy out into something that's greater than us. And that is just so incredibly profound and beautiful. It's so incredibly uplifting, those moments. It's something that we just don't do. We always have a goal. We always want to get better. Like for example, maybe in a choir, people sing together, but there's always that element of improving yourself. And in Kirtan, anything goes. You're here for the moment. It doesn't matter how you sing. It's just your presence and your intention that counts. And to be in the moment without having a goal. I think it's so beautiful, and it's so needed because we are always so in the future the whole time, So.
Yeah, and it's very much about, well, I'm not saying choir isn't about connectivity. I mean, it's very much about connectivity, but it's less about competition, right? And I think and even in choirs, you hear stories about, the lead soprano sometimes, looking left and right to the person next to her who might not have hit the note perfectly. And so it's a lot about about really embracing each other's uniqueness. And then in voice you also have that that oneness that happens, that wholeness. So you can have 5,000 people or 100 people singing the same melody at the same time, which is very uplifting. Beautiful. Well, we're going to take a very short break, Georgia. We're going to be back with more about the voice of the documentary filmmaker and about mantra.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at OMTimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millis's, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
With happy clients all over the world, Cara Johnstad knows that your voice is the missing link to more authenticity, abundance, creativity, and health. An internationally acclaimed voice expert, Cara's breakthrough methods have helped thousands of people successfully heal their voice wounds and extinguish the story of self-doubt and shyness forever. Join in group trainings, attend online sessions, schedule one-on-one time, and invite Cara to work with your organization and community. Get started today. Go to www.carajohnstad.com and receive a special guided meditation designed to fine-tune your inner voice and welcome you on the voice journey.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off for school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Voice Rising. I am Cara Johnstad, and today in studio with me is Georgia Wyss, and we are here for a heartfelt exchange about the adventure of being a storyteller, a documentary filmmaker, and to talk about her newest film, Mantra, which explores soulful silence, voice, and community. So, Georgia, how did producing and directing the film Mantra change you personally? What shifted in you after you during the process, and then after you finished it, and now you're taking it out on the road. It's been playing in a lot of different festivals and in centers around the world. What's changed for you as a person?
It's been interesting. I guess I've definitely gained more confidence. Like, I was editing for 25 years, and as you know, film editors are sitting one-to-one in an edit room. So normally I just always be with one person. So suddenly I had to go out. I was interviewing people, managing a crew. Well, although our crew was wonderful and we weren't very many, so it wasn't like overwhelming in that sense. But I think actually what later when the film came out, going to the premieres, having to go on stage, talking in public, which I had a tremendous fear of. All these things, even making radio interviews, which I did in the beginning. It's amazing. I feel much more comfortable with that, and I'm really, really happy for that experience, because it's a big thing when you have fear of public talking, and then you notice you can actually get over it, and also that I've become, I think, more capable of expressing what I want, or a message, or just be more assertive. These are the things that I've been able to enjoy learning and discovering in myself, and that's been a great, of course. Everything that you try new, you do discover new sides of yourself. So I am very, very grateful for what I've been able to experience.
I mean, it is true that stage fear is a very big fear for many people. They put it up there with the fear of death, which I find crazy, but it is there. And when you master it and are no longer afraid to share your truth and your message, there's a lot of energy that is set free.
Yes, there's a lot of energy.
Right. So how do you have any tips and tricks for our audience, how you were able to take those steps and stand in alignment with the message that you wanted to share with the world? And
I think in the very beginning, I actually did the work, Byron Katie, like you asked yourself, what is your fear? Is it really true? And imagine, is it their opinions? Are you afraid that you're going to say something silly? And I don't know, I did a bit of that work. That really helped with a friend of mine. And then afterwards, I just kind of focused maybe on one face that I felt comfortable with, or I'd also just look out and just not see any, just see it as a whole. And I don't know, it's just the fear of that. What is it? These people, they're people like me and you. And actually, I think, of course, I was very fortunate in the way that this film is a very personal, very human film. So people actually felt with me, and the questions that were asked weren't like, weren't trying to put me down or anything. So I think I will, it's just the nature of the film. It has been overall a very comforting and encouraging experience.
Yeah, beautiful. So in the film, again, you are interviewing the people that many people know from the scene, again, Jai Uttal and Sanam Kar, Deva Premal, Meeten, Krishna Das. You can share with me some more names. These are the ones that are coming forward.
A long list.
Yeah, a long list.
C.C. White, M.C. Yogi, Lama Gyumi.
Yeah. Exactly.
Dave Stringer, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dave Stringer, of course. All of them I know. And, I was interested. All of these singers, they're so diverse. And their audiences are also diverse. Some of them are, creating new chants and mantras and songs. Some of them are taking, the ancient chants and singing them. What is a common thread that you found? I mean, they're very, very different people, and yet what is a common thread, not only in the singers but the audiences? Did you find a crossover in the audience? Did the same people who loved, let's say, Jai Uttal and Krishna Das also go and see Deva Premal and Meeten? I mean, was there a common force that you could name?
Well, yeah, I mean, what I found, actually, I found this kind of question, and what is it, actually, in the music festivals that we went to, like, for example, Omega Ecstatic Chant and Bhakti Fest at Joshua Tree. And there they would kind of all come together and mix. So there was Gauravani, who comes from the Hare Krishna tradition. There's Deva Preman Miten, who come from the Osho tradition. There was Snatam Kaur, who comes from the Kundalini, the 3HO tradition. Krishna Das and Jayutal, who come from Araji. And then I just realized how beautiful that they are all mixing. They're supporting each other. These are all different, strands of, paths that they've chosen to take. But in the end, I think whatever it is, the why they've taken this path is to become more spiritually aware. And I think that's also happening in the music now as well. Like a lot of people who are singing Kundalini mantras are also opening up to bringing in the Hare Krishna mantra, so it's not really about what strand and which way you're going. It's more really just about the intention and the devotion of what you're actually doing. You're chanting in a way to God, or whatever you want to call it, spirit, something that's greater than you. And that's and also the people in the audience is the same, and I really like it that they're mixing so much. It is such a beautiful thing now, Yeah.
So it's embracing also a bigger vision of what we are and what we can be. Do you think that chanting allows us to become more and more ourself, because we are listening more to the authentic voice and getting out of that space of judgment?
Yeah, I think chanting, especially as we were talking before, these ecstatic moments, I think when we're all in tune together and in the moment and breathing at the same time, I think it's like a channel. We're letting grace come through. And I've experienced this in different concerts. It's just even just thinking about it, it touches me. It's, this immense moment of just celebrative peace together, and what I think is just this rush of grace that comes through, and that we're all experiencing at the same time. And it's very difficult to explain, but it's such a beautiful thing, because nobody's in their mind, and we're not anywhere in the past or the future, but we're there together, and we're feeling this oneness.
You must also be very touched in these times, seeing the people. Or I'm very touched. In Italy now, the people are just starting to sing together on their balconies. They're all in lockdown, they're in quarantine, and they're walking out onto the balconies at 6 p.m. every night. I mean, very different maybe than the mantras and chanting, but the same intent to say we're together, we're here as a community, we're here as a humanity. We are keeping our windows open so that nobody is in isolation, so that nobody is lonely. And when you see these empty streets with these echoing voices that are singing together, and it's so uplifting, and it connects us again to this bigger truth, I guess, is this bigger truth that sometimes we forget when we're, busy and staring at our smartphones and running through the urban lifestyle or even in the countryside. And it's a very good reminder.
I think it's also a very liberating moment when you're actually sharing something like that with somebody you don't know at all, like a stranger, but you're sharing a very intimate, very fast, a very intimate moment with this stranger, and that's also something that we so rarely do. And that just gives a lot of excitement, joy. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to connect with somebody like that,
Yeah.
You know how it is sometimes you see somebody in the street and they smile at you, and that just makes you so happy, just for no reason. And it's similar with exactly this, what's going on in Italy now. You're suddenly tuning in with them and don't know who they are. Wow, it's great,
Beautiful. Yeah. Georgia, your films, all of them, they continue to bring people together and to enlighten. They are stories that are enlightening us and stories that can change us. Can you share with us where you are in the moment film-wise, and do you have any new releases planned or any new projects that are, as we say, on the burner, in the stove, in the pipelines?
Well, the reality is that the film Mantra has had a great run, but it's still a lot of work. And it's also like we signed up with a sales agent and everything. And the idea was actually that the investment, that we could pay back the investors and the people who worked on the film faster, and that I could hopefully move on to the next project. But the reality is, of course, that I am actually still very much involved distributing Mantra. So I haven't really had time or the financial support to take that next step yet. But I very much want to make a film about conscious dying. We've already started filming a little bit for that. Also, my co-director and cameraman Barriom, as he still travels around, he's collecting footage for this project, and that is something that I really hope will happen. I don't know when. It all depends. It could be in 5 years from now, But that's like the big project that I would like to do. That's actually something that I wanted to do before Mantra, and it's not really about. It's about how people who are consciously preparing themselves for this transition of dying, or maybe who are people supporting people, and how that actually changes the way of life once you come to peace and to terms with dying. So.
With dying. So if anybody
it's a very broad topic again, and it's but I feel very drawn to it, and I really hope that we can make this film sometime. It's going to have a lot of music again, because I think music transmits feelings far better than any words spoken.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, beautiful. Well, I think that if the resonance is there, and I know that it's an incredibly important theme, if there is somebody out there listening and you want to support Georgia and her visions, then I'm sure she can or he can contact you and see what they can do, right? I mean, one never knows. Funding is always a tricky thing, and yet we do know as artists that there are monies and energies that are out there. So may they find the path to you, right? What is your vision that you hold for the world? You're doing wonderful projects. What is your vision? How would you like to see us? How would you like to see the world evolve? What would be your favorite plan of action for our planet?
I can only recite the mantra Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy and peaceful. And especially for the world of the animals, I really hope, and I'm feeling it, it's happening, awareness is becoming more aware for the animals. I really hope that we can support them better and care for them better, and they've suffered so much. I think that's my biggest wish, that we become more aware for the animals, and that we can heal what we've done in the past to them, and that we involve and also become more connected with nature and with the animals again. That's, for me, one of the most important things.
Very beautiful. I think, I was saying that today too. It's very, I don't want to say, I guess I would say fascinating. I don't know if it's fascinating, but, what's precious about these moments in the moment is the rapid speed at which we are making decisive decisions. And we know that 90% of the ocean life was gone extinct in the last 50 years. And if we could come together and make the same scientific and intelligent decisions to save the planet, or to protect the animals, or to protect the wildlife, to save the Amazon, to come together. For me, it's my hope that that's what's happening in the moment, that we become conscious, that we can, if we put it together, have great change in a very short time, right?
I mean, I just was talking, just one thing, this lockdown This happened within 2 or 3 days. Now, if the politicians can make that happen, why haven't we already gotten rid of our plastic habits? These things can happen fast. And you can see, suddenly they can happen. So, it's amazing. I can't believe it's still that we're now, everybody's in their house and nobody's going out. That was really, I didn't know anything about this last Friday, and now it's Monday and we're here, so.
Yeah, exactly. And you see even, you see even planes turning around midair and returning because they can't get in. I mean, these are huge logistics behind this. This is a global situation, and we could also use it in the future for solving other situations, like you said, our plastic waste. Also becoming aware.
We'll never get there, and everybody does a little bit, but it's going to take forever until it changes. But then you can see how fast change can go. So
yeah, exactly. Georgia, what is do you have a voice practice? Do you have a writing practice or a chanting, singing practice? Or what is your connection with your, tuning into your inner voice? You're obviously inspired by many great stories. That's also voice work. Do you have a daily practice that you kind of tune into your inner voice?
I do japa. I don't do it. I go through phases. I do it every day, chanting mantras. Sometimes I don't. What I love doing, and we're very blessed here in Barcelona, we have a lot of Kirtans going on. We have extremely good musicians here. And there's Kirtans going on 2 or 3 times a week. And if I'm not working too much, or I have been traveling a lot because of the film lately, but that's one of my favorite things to do, is go to the Kirtans and join the Kirtans and sing with people, celebrate with people, and yoga. I practice a lot of yoga, which is very, very important for me as well.
Very, very important for many, many people, I would say, like that. And if there's one golden nugget of wisdom that you've learned from the vibrational sound journey, whether it's chanting or humming, or what would it be?
I don't know. I think it's just when you listen to something and you feel the vibration, like you feel it in your body. I think one should listen to that. Like, I think one should follow the vibration. Like, I'm trying to become more and more aware of it. When you feel which way to go, you're not quite sure, but you're really drawn to something. Or that's kind of also how the idea of the film came about. I'd be listening to this music and I'd feel it really in the body, the vibration of this music, and I kept thinking, I have to do this. So I think following that, the feeling is an important thing. Not sure if that made sense, but
no, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
It made absolute sense. And I think that, we talk about heart-brain coherence. I mean, the voice is nestled in the middle of our heart and brain. It's bringing the emotional field into our mindfulness and wisdom. And I think a lot of times we are trained as a society to analyze and to discuss and to, is this idea really worth following, instead of following what our bones are telling us, really what our body is
and listening to that, because there's so many people around you, you get so many opinions. So to stick with that vibration and knowing that is the strongest part, and not get influenced too much with all the opinions around, that's a practice, that takes some time.
That is a practice, a practice of deep listening. How do you manage to do that, to weed through all the opinions? How do you? This is a good question for you. How do you even manage to make a decision? Because you have a lot of important decisions to make, and I think people really struggle. They have a lot of ideas, they have a lot of voices, they have a lot of, their intuition is strong, and yet they could go in that direction or this direction. You could choose this artist and that artist to do your film. You could do that story and this story. How do you make those important decisions as a creative, conscious person? You know that you're not just singing one song. You are dedicating, like you said, I mean, mantra I think you released it in 2017, if that's correct. When did you start
It had
working
its
on the film?
premiere in 2017, but it wasn't released until 2018.
Okay, and then when did you start working on it? When was the seed born?
The first film, the idea was about 2011, and the first filming was 2013. It was a long process because I had to keep going back to normal work and making money in between.
Right. Yeah, right. So, I mean, you know, every time you make a decision, let's say you're going to do your film on conscious dying, you can assume probably it's a 10-year process or a
But yeah, at least 5. If funding's there, great. Then it might be faster. But you know, it's also good if a film takes its time. You know, I think it's a good thing as well.
And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that after you release this film, it's almost like giving birth, and you're almost having to raise it, right? Like you are, I believe, a mother also. It's almost like you take the film through different steps of
now it's coming
going
to
out into the world.
Time, and I want it to get out. Like it's not going. Had enough now. No.
No, that's what a lot of people don't realize. I think they don't realize that when we make albums or we write books, or you know, this is all voice work, right? Our writing albums, creating albums, writing books. I mean, it's wonderful if you have people in place that, you know, huge companies doing promotion, and then you can put these things out every year and somebody else is taking care. But for the independent artists, which you are, the creative conscious people in this world, they are really taking it from that first idea all the way through a finished product. And then we are so relieved that it's finished. I'm sure you're relieved that it was finished, the film, and then you realize, I can't have this sit on my shelf. I have to get this to the people. Yeah. And then the next phase starts with getting it out into the world. And that's very hard sometimes because you're ready for the next project, right?
Well,
you're ready to receive.
I became an editor because I'm not such a great producer. I'm not great at writing lots of emails and negotiating and contracts. So that's, and it's also work I'm not really liking so much. But yeah, it's fell into my lap, you know. So anyway.
And maybe you're growing with it, like with finding your voice and standing in front of a big audience and saying, "This is my film, and this is my work, and this is my vision." Maybe we all grow with this idea that energy and money are connected, and to say, I need X amount for this vision, right? How did, this is my last question, I guess, but for me it's so important, the word creative conscious. There are so many films. I think we have a responsibility as artists, and it's hard not to judge it, but I actually think that films that propagate violence and etc. are not necessarily serving what we want to do or be. How does your meditation practice feed your artistry? How do you is it important to you?
I think this question is weaves a little bit with the prior question about how do you go about decision making, and I don't know. For example, actually, if I'm editing, especially with this film, there were so many ways to go, and I feel there's a lot of intuition in there. You just start with something, and then this film created itself in a way. I mean, because there was no script at all, so this was said, and that would go with that, and that led into that, and it kind of did its own course. And I think in general in life, or with producing as well, I think I like to think that, I'm playing a part in this, but, I'm not trying to force things into certain ways, and decisions are just kind of going with the flow. It sounds so simple now, but it's kind of what I'm trying to do, So also with my life in general, or with the next project, and putting things out there all the time, putting ideas out there, and then if it flows, it can go to the next step, goes to the next step. but not thinking too much about it and not complicating things too much. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
Like the resonance of seeing what comes back, and then it'll flow even bigger, right? If more and more people join or they resonate with your idea, then it keeps on going. Georgia, let us know your homepage. How can people invite you to their festivals, or how can they get in touch with you, maybe to do film screenings or to co-create different projects, or do you have a
we still do a lot. Well, at the moment, of course, all the event screenings are over. We do a lot of screenings still where people also invite Kirtan artists to sing afterwards, which has been so beautiful. We've had in 14 countries in cinemas around the world, we've had these screening events where people are actually singing in the cinemas together after the film. So if anybody is interested in creating such an event, it doesn't even have to be a cinema. It can be a yoga school. It can be a smaller community. We're very interested in getting more prison screenings. We've been in 2 prisons so far. So
beautiful.
Are we done?
Beautiful. I think we're at the end of the interview. Sorry about that. I wasn't sure when the music was going to start, but is it georgiawyss.com? Is that your homepage?
That's right. And also mantramovie.com.
Okay. Thank you, Georgia, so much for being with me today at Voice Rising. You're doing amazing work for humanity and giving voice to stories that are very important. So I wish you continued success.
Thank you.